Jump in the water with them and float. Hold their hand and float with them. That's the best place to start. How do you usually feel when faced with everyday demands or expectations? So instead of saying everyday demands or expectations, I would say life. So how do I feel when faced with life? How do I feel as a human being that lives in the world from day to day typically? I would say I love being alive. I love people. I love being who I am. And I understand I'm in a position, and I have been since childhood, where it's crucial for me to constantly reflect on how I can support myself. And this is the burden, because I've not been afforded the same rights and supports as my peers, and I was very aware of this at a very young age. Because of how I respond to discomfort and distress, I learnt really quickly that support was not really on offer to me. Correction was, punishment was, behaviour modification was, rejection, disapproval, dismissal, invalidation, all of those things were. And so I've learnt that I look after myself. And people would say that's incredibly sad and it's survival. How do I feel about facing the world? Or how do I feel about facing demands? I survive it. And that is a completely separate experience to how I feel about being a human being. Because when I do have autonomy, when I'm treated with respect, when I'm valued unconditionally, when I'm loved, when space is held for me, without the condition of having to show up in a way that other people believe I should, it's like being given permission to be in my joy. How I feel about leaving the house, how I felt about going to school, was terrifying, because I knew that I would be asked so many times from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed to comply, to adhere to achieve, to produce in ways that I couldn't. And as a result of that, you internalize what you're told about yourself, and that is that you're lazy and selfish and you live with shame. And if I didn't seek out therapy at 16, if I didn't continuously engage with therapy all of my life, I wouldn't have survived that. And people don't want to hear the hard truth about this stuff. And I'm still receiving feedback that I disappoint people. Strangers on the internet, because I can't show up for things, or I have to reschedule, or I cancel. People that come to learn about PDA from me, people that want to ask about PDA, don't realise they still actively shame me for who I am. And that's the stuff that PDAers sidestep every day. And sometimes we don't get to sidestep it. Sometimes we live with it. Sometimes we have to be with it all of the time. If my children find themselves at 45 with the integrity that I have, and the honesty and the care for others and the generosity of spirit and the joy and the happiness that I have, that's all I could want for them. If they have that relationship with themselves that I have with myself, that's all I want for them.